For this afternoon, we'll be continuing our discussion on stoichiometry, ano? So we'll try also to finish solutions later on para sa susunod na days ay punta naman tayo sa thermodynamics and kinetics. Okay? Ayan. So, a reminder lang, later on when we have a break time, no, so we'll have a short survey. So, I oblige everyone to answer the survey kasi kailangan po siya sa ating LRC, ano? So, sagutan po ninyo later on sa break time. Okay. So, with that, let's continue our discussion on stoichiometry. So, yesterday, we have tackled yung different ways on how we solve yung stoichiometry, ano? So, we have yung mga, you have yung determination of your, what do you call this? Determination of your, uh, yung lowest ratio or molecular formula, yan yung empirical formulas natin, okay? So, nagawa natin siya using your stoichiometry. For now naman, we'll be tackling yung amounts of reactants and products, which primarily deals with your uh, percent purity, percent yield, ayan. So, limiting reactant and your excess reactants. Okay? So, this is quite relatively fast naman kasi this is the high school stuff of yung stoichiometry. Ano? Okay? Sige. So, for the solving of your amount of reactants and products, the first step that you're going to do is always, similarly kahapon, no, is to balance your equation. So, you always need to balance. Hindi nyo magagawa yan without balancing. It will always be wrong. Why is this the case? Kasi again, pag hindi po natin binalance yung ating chemical equation, what happens is, hindi natin alam yung exactly kung ano yung ratio niya. Kung ano yung, ano ito, kung ano yung molar ratio ng iba't ibang mga reactants and products. That will yield you a different results kasi hindi naman lahat ng reaction ay 1:1 at hindi naman lahat ng reaction ay mananatiling 1:1 after the reaction. Okay? So, again, you need to consider or you need to balance your equations first. After which, kung nag-start ka sa mga iba-ibang mga given, say for example, nag-start ka sa density, how will you go through with your experiment or with your problem, ano? So first, you need to convert it into the mass. As from the mass, you need to convert it into your moles. Pag naman yung ibang factors, say for example, atoms yung binigay, number of atoms, you need to convert it into your moles, okay? So ang ending goal nyo guys ay essentially ma-convert lahat ng mga units nyo into moles para madali na lang siya ma-distribute at ma-separate na for calculations, ano? Again, you do not use your, say for example, grams again. Kasi ang kino-consider po natin sa stoichiometry ay yung mga molar ratio. It's not the gram ratio. So it's a totally different aspect. So you do not equate the two things together. Okay? So the third is use the stoichiometric ratios from the equation. So say for example, we want to let's have here A yields to B, ano? So what's the stoichiometric ratio for A and B? So ang gagawin natin guys, it is the moles of B times yung ating molar coefficient, sabi natin C na lang coefficient, okay? Times natin siya dun sa, say for example, we want to know the amount in mass, no? Molar mass, okay? So pag moles na yan, this is just the 2 moles of P. Ganyan lang siya. So coefficient times molar mass divided by your P or the stoichiometric ratio of your P. So lagi po natin gagawin guys is ratio of A. Say for example, we want to convert B to A, ano? The ratio of A over the ratio of B. Okay? So, lagi lang po siyang ganun. Kung ano yung coefficient ng A, sa taas siya. Kung ano yung coefficient ng B, sa baba siya. So, this is very essential when you take Chem 29, ano, yung ating Analytical Chemistry 1. If nag-take kayo ng ganong course, hindi nyo na kasi, sa haba ng mga problems, no, hindi nyo na magagawang tawag dito, i-dimensional analysis lahat. Okay? What you're going to do is always you use this stoichiometric ratio. Ratio of the unit na you want to convert over the ratio ng uh, initially na given na unit. Okay? So that's your use of the stoichiometric ratios. And again, once in moles na, let's turn back it into grams, and that is given by this. So if you want to memorize actually, if given ka muna ng grams, convert mo muna siya into moles, then ratio, then saka kayo pupunta sa grams ulit. Okay? So in other words, in the equation, if you want to convert, given yung grams natin into, this is one, say for example, again, it's A is to 2B, ano? If you want to convert B into A, what we're going to do, it's the grams of B, or the amount of B times the stoichiometric coefficient of A, times the molar mass, divided by the coefficient of B times the molar mass. Okay? So, ganun lang po natin ang gagawin, no? So, tandaan nyo lang ito, guys, if you're solving for the amount in grams of A. Okay? So, ganun lang siya. So, let's try this example. The general equation for the cellular respiration is C6H12O6, or glucose, plus water yields CO2 plus H2O. Wherein glucose is consumed by the organism to react with the oxygen, it makes interrelease carbon dioxide and water. If 968 grams of glucose is consumed by an organism, what is the mass of carbon dioxide produced? Okay? So, I'll give you 2 minutes, guys, to try and answer this bago natin sagutan, ano? So, I hope you have your periodic tables with you. Okay? So, gamitin nyo na lang po siya, okay? To solve for the molar mass of glucose, oxygen, carbon dioxide, and water. Okay? So, ganoon lang siya. I'll give you 2 minutes, guys. We'll have 1 minute, 1 hour. Ayun, we have to answer it in 1:16 p.m. Okay? 2 minutes lang. Again, ang gagawin ninyo, balance, tapos convert nyo into moles, after which convert nyo siya into ratio, yung ratio, okay? Tapos, saka nyo siya i-convert into the mass of the CO2. Okay? So, ganyan yung gagawin niya. Can you try? If wala kayong periodic table, here are the masses. No? C is 12, H is 1, O is 16. Do you have an answer, guys? May answer ba kayo? Okay? So, sige. I think let's try to do this as an example na lang muna. Okay? So, for this, let's first, anong una natin gagawin? Anong una natin gagawin, guys? Pag binigyan tayo ng stoichiometric problem, anong unang gagawin? You do?
Balance po, balancing.
Okay, balance the equation. So, let's first balance C6H12O6, ano? So, in this case, ilan po yung carbon dito? You can chat it. 6, di ba? Ilan yung carbon sa kabilang side? Ilan yung carbon sa kabilang
One po.
side? Only one, okay? So in that case, anong kailangan natin gawin to balance? We need to multiply 6 in this side. Okay. So ano naman yung naapektuhan sa kabilang side na to? We have the oxygen, no? Kasi balance na yung carbon natin. Okay na yung carbon. How about the oxygen? We have 6 times 2. We have 12 plus 1. It's 13, right? 13 oxygen atoms. How about in the side? Ilan kaya to? We have 6 and 8. So what are we going to do? Anong gagawin natin dyan? How do we balance this? Okay, you can actually, ano muna, you can actually leave them blank muna, no? So, tingnan natin later on kasi medyo mahirap i-balance. we have 8 and 13. So, hindi sila pareho, di ba? Hindi sila even numbers, hindi sila completely divisible, ano? So, how do we do this? First, let's look at muna yung ating hydrogen atom. Ilan yung hydrogen atom natin dito? Dalawa. How about sa kabila? 12. So, what are we going to do? We need to times ulit natin to ng 6. Okay? Para maging equal na yan, magiging 12 na yan, magiging 12 na rin ito. So, okay na yung ating hydrogen. How about yung ating oxygen, guys? Ilan na yung total na oxygen natin sa side na to? We have 8, di ba? How about sa side na to? We have 12 plus 6 is equal to 18. Okay? So what are we going to do for this one? Okay? So kung 8 yan, 6 yung natira, no? We can actually multiply this by 6, no? Kasi, di ba 18 ito? 6 na tong given na to. So what we're going to do, 18 minus 6 is equal to 12. Tapos 12 divided by 2 is equal to 6. So kailangan natin multiply ito by 6. Okay? So the balance equation is C6 H12 O6 plus 6O2 yield 6CO2 plus 6H2O. So this is the balance equation, no? Okay. So let's check if our answer is correct, no? So we have here, ito, tama yung ating balance equation. Yan. Tama naman siya. Okay, that's correct. So first, let's have yung mga molar masses natin, ano? What are the molar masses of your glucose, no? So this is 6 times 12 plus 12 plus 6 times 16. That's essentially equal to 180 grams per mole. Okay? So after which, anong gagawin natin pag nahanap na natin? Ano ba yung given sa atin? We have 968 grams of glucose. So, ang hinahanap ay carbon dioxide. So, okay na yung balance natin. Na-convert na rin natin siya into moles by dividing 968 by 180. Yan, na-convert na natin siya into moles. What's next? Ano next natin dito? Anong next natin? Hmm? Anong next na gagawin? Anyone? Pagkatapos natin mag-balance, convert natin to moles. Tapos from
Yung,
moles, anong gagawin natin?
yung parts po, yung parang percent.
Okay, the ratio 1, no? So what we're going to do, we look at the stoichiometric ratio of our glucose and carbon dioxide. Again, anong gagawin natin? Di ba? Kunwari, A is to B. Yan. Ang gagawin natin, moles of B times the stoichiometric ratio of A to B. So that is 1A times the molar mass of A, 1B times the molar mass of B. Okay? So if we try to apply this to this equation, ano what we're going to do? We have moles of C6H12O6 times 6 6 moles of CO2 times what's the molar mass of CO2? We have 44 grams per mole. Okay? Divided by, ano yung ratio ng ating glucose? We have 1 C6H12O6 times the, may kailangan pa ba natin to i-times ng molar mass of the glucose? Hindi na. Kasi again, naka-moles na tayo dito, guys. So in that case, we just need to divide this by your glucose molecule, ano? Yung amount of your glucose molecule. So let's have 1 mole of C6H12O6. Cancel na yung units. Cancel. Cancel. Thus, we ultimately have moles ito. Cancel, cancel. Ayan. So, what is this? Ilang moles of glucose? We have 5.38 moles of glucose. Ilan yung lalabas? Can you try to solve for this one? If tumutog ba yung calculation natin na to, can you try to solve for this one? Ano lumalabas? 5.38 times 6 times 44. Ilan? Teka lang. Okay, so what's your answer, guys? Can you try to chat it? Ano answer ninyo? I just grabbed my calculator. Ano?
Naka-deactivate po sir ang all chat.
Ay, naka-deactivate pa ang all chat. Oops, sis. Sige. Ah,
Sir, yun, yung 968 po ba yung value ng glucose? Yung grams ng glucose?
yes, it's 168 yung grams ng glucose. So, sinolve na natin siya, we have 5.38 moles of glucose. So, how do we convert this into CO2? We just use this conversions, no? So, can you try to convert this one? Can you try to answer this one? Ayan. Tas, siguro for the meantime, paano na lang, on mic na lang kayo muna kung wala pa rin yung all chat, okay?
Times
So,
lang po
what's your
sir, di
answer?
ba? For 1420.32 po. Kung tama po
Okay.
yung pagbasa ko.
Okay. So, in this case, it's near this one. 1420, ano, it's 1419.73. So, gumamit lang tayo kasi ng mga exact masses dito. So, ganun lang siya, okay? So, ganun lang siya, guys. Ang gagawin niyo lang lagi, follow niyo yung method natin, no? Balance, convert to moles, moles to stoichiometric ratios, tapos saka po ninyo i-convert into the mass. Okay? So, ganun lang, guys, siya. Again, follow niyo lang ito. Yung kung medyo nahihirapan kayo mag-logic, ano, ang gamitin niya lang ay grams of your reactant or yung given, grams given. So, sabihin natin grams of B na lang times the stoichiometric coefficient, COF, of A times the molar mass of A over to coefficient of B times the molar mass of B. Okay? So, ang lalabas na po dito ay yung percent ninyo ng, ay yung amount of mass na na-produce ninyo. Okay? So, just follow this given, ano? Ayan. Na-understand? Nakaka-follow, guys? Sige, Gabriel.
Sir, sorry po, saan po nanggaling po yung 6 mole of carbon dioxide?
Again, what we did kanina, diba, is we balance the equation. So, this is the balance equation, no? 6 CO2. So, you mean to multiply this by 6. Okay? Nakakuha?
Yes po, thank you.
Okay, sige. So let's try this one naman. All alkali metals react with water to produce hydrogen gas and the metal hydroxide. A reaction between lithium and water is represented by the following equation. Lithium solid plus water yield lithium hydroxide plus hydrogen gas. How many grams of lithium are needed to produce 7.79 grams of H2? Ano gagawin natin? Hmm. Ano unang gagawin?
Balance po muna, sir.
Balance, okay? So is this equation already balanced?
No,
Balanced na ba?
no po.
Okay, so anong gagawin natin? We first balance this by, let's have it here, ano? So since hindi po balance ang ating lithium hydroxide na equation, ano? Tignan kasi natin dito, in this case, sige, dito na lang, sa taas, ayan. Ilan yung hydrogen dito sa side na to? Tatlo, di ba? Ilan yung hydrogen dito? Dalawa. Okay? So what are we going to do? Ano or kaya paano natin siya gagawin? Okay? So dalawa tas tatlo ay di mahirap din i-balance. So ang isang advice ko sa inyo guys is actually maghanap kayo ng isang common point sa kanilang dalawa. Okay? So in this case, so H2O and H2 yung given, meron tayong lithium hydroxide. Again, this is hydrogen is equal to 3. Hydrogen is equal to 2. So you might be tempted to do times 3 times 2. Say for example, this is times 3 and this is times 2 para maging 6 and 6. Okay? So medyo tempting siya gawin. However, in this given, pwede mo bang gawin ni simple na times 2 yan? Hindi. Why? Kasi yung hydrogen natin nanggagaling sa dalawang separate na entity. Meron from lithium hydroxide, meron nanggagaling from hydrogen gas. So you can't simply do times 2 or times 3 to make their ratios the same or to make their values the same. So anong gagawin natin? So in this case, ang technique na ituturo ko sa inyo, no, punta muna kayo doon sa mas maliit na side. Okay? Sa maliit na side. Okay? So if you want to do this, if you want to solve for, say for example, anong pinakamalapit na even number? Kasi syempre mas ano 'di ba? Pag even number hindi mo siya kumbaga lagi siya halos sakto if you divide it in your ratios no ng whole numbers no pag even number. Pag odd kailangan ka mag 0.5 which is we do not favor. So in this case, how do we do this? What's the lowest even number greater than 2? What's the lowest even number greater than
Or
2?
po.
4. Okay? If the lowest number given ay 4, so how do we make this as 4? We simply multiply 2. Okay? So the total hydrogen atoms here are 4. Meanwhile, sa right side ng equation, tatlo na yan. So anong gagawin natin? Okay? So tatlo
Multiply
na
po
yan.
yung, ay sorry po, yung
Okay.
sa may
Okay.
lithium ng times 2 po.
Okay, very good. So multiply natin to by 2. Magiging 2H plus H2, you'll have a total of 4H. So pareho na po yung value natin ng 4 dito. Okay? So the problem now, or we're left with is, dalawa na lang yung lithium. So we can simply multiply this by 2 lithium. Okay? So the balance equation is 2 Li plus 2H2O yield LiOH 2 plus H2 plus H2 gas. Okay? So, dalawa yung lithium, apat yung hydrogen, apat yung hydrogen, ano? Tapos, ilan yung oxygen? Dalawa. Dalawa din yung oxygen natin. So, that's the correct balance equation. So, from there, guys, what do we need to do? Ano yung given sa atin? How many grams are needed to produce 7.79 grams of hydrogen gas? Okay, so ang starting point natin is your hydrogen gas. So, in this case, we just need to do 7.79 grams. Ay, diba? Sige, iyan natin. Gawin natin yung equation ngayon. Grams of H2 times coefficient of COF of lithium times the molar mass of lithium over the coefficient of H2 times the molar mass of H2. Okay? So in this case, we have 7.79 grams of H2 times, ano yung ratio nila? It's 1 is to 2. Okay? So we just need to multiply 2 moles Li times the molar mass of Li. What's the molar mass of lithium? Is approximately equal to, ano molar mass ng lithium? Is approximately equal to what?
7 po.
Lithium? Ilan? Ilan yung molar mass ng lithium? 7. Okay? So let's use 7 grams per mole divided by, ano yung coefficient ng hydrogen natin? We have 1 mole H2. Anong molar mass ng H2? Anong molar mass ng H2?
2 po.
Okay, 2. 2 grams per mole. Okay, cancel, 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 cancel. What's the answer for this one? Ilan? We have 15.58 grams of uh sorry, grams of lithium. Okay? Yeah. So, nafa-follow ba ninyo? Nagigets yung paano mabilis? Di ba ang yes, ano yan? Gabriel?
Sir, sorry po. Ano po yung nakasulat po katabi po nun 2 at 1?
What do you
Sa
mean?
fraction,
What
do sa
one?
fraction po.
1 mole of hydrogen gas, tas 2 grams per mole ng hydrogen gas. Sa taas naman, 2 moles of lithium times 4 grams per mole ng lithium. Again, this is yung equation natin. Ano? So, follow nyo lang ito. Okay? So, in this case, we have 15.58 grams of lithium needed to produce 7.79 grams of hydrogen gas. Yes, Martin?
Sir, di po ba 7 grams per mole yung lithium?
Yes, 7 grams per mole. This is 7 grams. Ay, teka. Ay, sorry. 7
Iba
times
lang po kasi
7
nakuha
point.
ko po.
Yeah. Yeah. 7, 9 times 2 times 7 divided by 2. Okay? So that's essentially equal to, wait lang, let me calculate. Okay, mali yung nalagay ko. Di ko na multiply ng 7 at divide ng 2. Okay? So we have 54.53. Sorry. We have 54.53 grams of lithium. Okay? So, yan siya. Okay? Nakakuha po. So, this will just be 7.79 times 2 times 7 divided by 2. Okay? So, ayan po. 54.53 grams of lithium. Ayan. So, gamitin na lang yung equation na to. Ayan. Di ba kasi ang turo sa high school ay usually ginagawa ay dimension analysis. Analysis gagawin 7.79 grams of H2 times 1 mole of H2 is 2 grams. Ganyan. So, ganyan-ganyan natin. Okay, madaming ganyan. So, ang shortcut nito or ang pinakamadaling gawin dito is your coefficient method. Okay? So, ganyan lang siya. Ayan. So, it's 53.6 grams of lithium. So, let's have here naman excess and limiting reactants. Ano? Again, pag excess reactant, siya yung natitira or naiiwan. Pag limiting reactant, siya yung nagdidictate kung gaano karami yung maximum mo ma-produce na product. Okay? So one analogy for this is actually, say for example, we have yung ating ham sandwich. So if we utilize, o kumari, nagluluto na lang kayo, no? Usually, ang nagiging limiting reactant sa pagluluto mo ay yung karne kasi mas mahal yung meat as compared to your gulay, di ba? Kung mas mahal yung ating mga meat kaysa sa gulay, syempre, mas konti yung mabibili nating meat. So in that essence, guys, ang limiting reactant natin or limiting ingredient natin is your meat. Okay? So let's have here, say for example, this one. It takes 2 pieces of bread and 1 piece of ham to make a sandwich. If I have 4 pieces of bread and 3 pieces of ham, how many sandwiches can I make? Okay? How many sandwiches?
Hmm.
2 po.
Is
Okay,
it
two
two po?
sandwiches. Okay, very good. Kasi nga, dalawa yung kailangan nating loaf of, ay dalawa yung kailangan nating bread na slices para makagawa ng isang sandwich. Eh, meron lang tayong 4 na pieces of bread. So, dalawa lang yung, doon, dalawa lang yung magagawa natin sandwich. So, therefore, sino yung limiting ingredient natin in this case?
Yung
Is it
bread.
the ham or is it the bread? It's
Bread
the,
Ah,
po.
po.
The
okay, it's
bread.
the bread. Very good. Okay, so ganun lang yung logic ng ating mga excess and limiting reactants. Okay? So, yan siya. Okay, sige. So the limiting reactant, therefore, is the reactant that determines how much of the product we can create from a certain reaction. So, kunwari, A is to B, ay A plus B yield C. Pag konti lang si B mo, siya yung magiging limiting reactant mo. Always, guys, kaya nga, napansin nyo kanina, we always convert into moles. The reason for that is kasi, pag naka-grams yan, probably iba-iba siya ng grams, iba-iba din siya ng molar mass. Pero pag sinabi mong moles yan, lagi yung moles yan, absolute yan. Parang, okay, this is the moles of A, this is the moles of B. Therefore, yan yung present sa system natin regardless of their amount, regardless of their molar masses. Kasi meron mga instances na yes, madami kang nilagay na mass, pero malaki naman yung molar mass niya. So therefore, hindi ka ganun ka laki siya in terms of your moles. Ba? So in this case, we always need to compare the amount of moles per reactant and per product. Okay? So when you're making calculations for stoichiometry, we must first identify which reactant is limiting and which one is in excess. Why is this the case? Well, the primary reason for that is para hindi sayang yung ating reagent. So say for example, ang limiting pala talaga sa kailangan nating reaction ay yung A. Alam na maglalagay pa tayo ng sobrang daming A, di ba? Okay? So, how about, kuwari, yung B naman yung excess natin? Of course, kailangan mo maglagay ng so much amount of B. Okay? So, again, ang ano nito ay sa practical aspect, no, when you're working in the laboratory, syempre sayang naman yung ibang reagent kung siya naman yung limiting tapos dadamihan mo, konti lang naman kailangan mong amount ng product. So medyo sayang siya. It is your scale up or scale down reaction. So, no? So, ganun siya. Okay? So, again, the excess reactant is ignored in calculations. Why is this the case? Ba't kaya yung excess reagent natin is ignored in the calculations? Why is this the case? Ano sa tingin nyo?
Because you have enough po.
Because you have enough? Or your excess kasi dictates kung ilan yung matitira after ng reaction. Hindi natin malalaman kung ilan po yung actual na na-produce. Kasi excess nga siya eh. Hindi naman siya yung baseline natin. Ang laging baseline is your limiting, kaya it dictates how much of the product is formed. Okay? Ayan. So say for example, you have this one. No? Urea is produced by reacting ammonia with carbon dioxide. In one process, 849.2 grams of NH3 was treated with 1,223 grams of CO2. A. Which of the reactants is limiting? And B. Calculate the amounts of urea is formed and see how much of the excess reagent is left at the end of the reaction. Okay? So ano una natin gagawin, guys? Ang una natin gagawin, check nyo muna kung balanced. Okay? Check nyo muna kung balanced. Okay? Balance ba? Mm. Balance ba siya, guys? Yung ating chemical
No,
reaction.
hindi po, sir.
Hindi pa balance. Let's check, no? So let's have, ilan to? Dalawang nitrogen. Dalawang nitrogen. Tama. Okay, tama. Ilang hydrogen? Anim dito. Anim. Kasi 2 times 3, ano? So dito, we have 4. Tapos we have 2 here. So 4 plus 2, anim din. So balance din yung ating hydrogen. How about carbon? Isang carbon, isang carbon. Balance din. How about H2O or yung ating oxygen atom? We have dalawa dito, tapos isa, 1 plus 1 equals 2. So balance din yung ating oxygen. So therefore, this equation is already balanced equation. Okay, yan na siya. Okay? So anong next natin gagawin? Again, convert into moles. Pero when it comes to your products, or when it comes to limiting and excess reactant, ang gagawin nyo, guys, 'di ba, na-convert na natin yung moles of B, 'di ba? I-convert natin siya into the moles of A lang. So pwede kang tumigil na diyan if you just want to know what is the limiting or the excess reactant. You do that for every reactant in your system. So kung dito meron tayong ilang reactant, we have dalawang reactants, right? Yan, meron tayong dalawang reactants. So ilang calculations yung kailangan natin gawin? Kailangan natin ng dalawang calculations for them. Okay? So let's try to answer letter A muna. Which of the reactants is limiting? So what are we going to do? Again, isa-isa natin. Say for example, dito tayo sa NH3 muna, no? Sige, dito na sa taas natin isulat. Okay? We have NH3. Grams of NH3 times, ano yung hati natin? We have the stoichiometric coefficient of ano yung product natin. Mamili lang kayo, guys. Anong gusto niyo yung product? NH2, CO, or H2O? Pwede naman kahit ano yan eh. So, kasi sila naman magdedictate ng products mo. Sabihin natin, gusto natin malaman si urea. Kasi for letter B, ano, calculate the mass of urea form. So what are we going to do? We just need to, ayan, coefficient of urea, okay, times the molar mass of urea. Yan, ay sorry, pangit. Times the molar mass of urea, no? Divided by the coefficient of NH3 times the molar mass of NH3. 3. Okay? So, ito yung unang calculation natin is part A for NH3. Ang part B naman natin is your grams of CO2 times the coefficient of urea times the molar mass of urea divided by the coefficient of NH3 times the molar mass of NH3. Okay? So, dalawang part of calculation siya, no? So, let's have A muna. What's the setup for A? Let's have 849.2 grams of NH3 times, what's the coefficient? 1/2. Tapos, ano yung molar mass ng urea? We have 14 times 2, it's 28 plus 4 plus 12 plus 16. You have 10, 22 plus 22 plus 8. 22 plus 22 plus 28 pala. Ayan. We have 50. Okay? 50 grams. How about your ammonia? We have 17 grams per mole urea, ammonia. Okay? Yan siya. So what will this be? What will be the result for this calculation? 849.2 times 50 divided by 2 times 17. So how many? How many grams of urea is produced for ammonia? Ilan? Follow this equation, guys. Ilan siya?
1,248.82 po.
Okay, 1,248.82 grams of urea. How about for letter B? What will be our equation? We have 1,223 grams of CO2 times, ano yung ratio natin? CO2 to NH2. We have 1:1. Again, we have 50 grams of grams per mole urea over this, ano yung CO2 natin? Anong molar mass yan? We have 12 plus 32. It's 44 grams per mole CO2. What will this be? Anong lalabas?
1,389.77 po.
27 grams of urea. Okay, so we will now be able to answer A and B. Okay, so first, which of the following is the limiting reactant? Okay, sino sa kanilang dalawa yung limiting reactant? If I'm going to ask you, sino sa kanila limiting reactant?
NH3.
Ammonia po.
Ammonia, kasi mas konti po siyang na naproproduce yung ammonia. Okay, very good. So this is your letter A, or the answer for A is your NH3. How about for letter B? How many grams of urea is formed? Ilan? Theoretically, ilan? Ilan siya theoretically? Ilang grams of urea? Hmm. Sino agad na magdidictate kung gaano karami yung product na na-form?
Yung limiting reactant po.
NH3.
Okay. So therefore, ilang grams of urea?
1,248.82.
Okay, very good. So that's your letter B, 1,248.82. Okay? So that's how you do this. How about for letter C? What are you going to do for this one? What do you think? Anong gagawin natin for letter C?
Stoichiometric ratios.
Between? Between what? Sinong kukuha natin ng stoichiometric ratio? Chino?
CO2 and urea.
CO2 and urea. So in that case, what do we need to do? Since alam natin na limiting reactant si urea, therefore, mas konti siya in terms of moles as compared to your carbon dioxide. So what are we going to do? Ano? Okay? So, ayan, alam na natin na ganyan yung na-produce natin. Ano? What we're simply going to do, convert natin yung NH3 to CO2. Tapos, yung grams ng CO2 minus the grams of CO2 from NH3. Okay? Tapos yun yung magiging excess natin. Okay? So, let's try. We have 800, ilan ulit yung ano natin, year 849.2 tapos 1223. Okay? So let's have 849.2 grams of NH3 times 1 over 2 times the molar mass of your carbon dioxide, which is 44 grams per mole CO2, divided by 17 grams per mole NH3. Okay? So what is this? What's the answer for this? You have 1,098.70. Ayan. 1,098.70 grams of CO2 from NH3. So from this, 1223 minus 1098.70, we have 124.29 grams of CO2 in excess. Okay? Nakuha po? Nakuha yung sagot? Ay, yan. Okay? I see it. Yes, Gabriel?
Sir, sorry, paano po malalaman kung ano po yung gagawin naming numerator and denominator dun sa stoichiometric na
Okay?
fraction?
Sige. So let's look at this equation ulit, ano? Again, when you're doing stoichiometric ratios, stoichiometric factors, ano, ang gagawin natin, isipin nyo muna, ano ba yung given unit? Okay? Ano ba, kuwari, say for example, we have here, ito. Yan. Ito dito tayo nag-start. So, ang gagawin nyo guys, kung 849.2 grams of NH3 yan, we want to convert, say for example, NH3 into carbon dioxide, ano? Again, ang gusto nyong ano, ang gawin ay yung unit na nasa taas is the unit na gusto ninyong i-obtain. Okay? So in this case, we want to obtain CO2. So what's the coefficient of CO2? It's 1. What's the coefficient of NH3? It's 2. So in this case, we just need to multiply 1 as the stoichiometric coefficient of CO2 times our molar mass of CO2 divided by 2 naman ito kasi 2 yung coefficient niya, di ba? Okay? Times the molar mass of NH3. So again, it's always kung ano yung gusto mong i-convert yung coefficient nun, yun yung taas, tas kung ano naman yung given sa'yo, yun yung coefficient na gagamitin mo sa baba. Okay? Nakukuha? Na-gets po?
Yes po,
Okay ba?
thank you.
Okay, sige. Naintindihan guys kung paano madali mag-solve ng mga ganyan? Kasi actually when you go to take your classes ano in general chemistry sa college, hindi na to masyadong tinuturo. As in, it is assumed na master nyo na to mga stoichiometry. Okay? So, kaya natin siya nire-recap sa summer bridging program para mas makakuha kayo ng techniques on how to quickly solve for stoichiometry. So, ganoon naman siya usually. Start ka sa stoichiometry, saka ka gagawa ng ibang kailangan na operations. Especially when when you're taking Chem 18 and Chem 19 courses. Okay? Yan siya. So, again, NH3 is the limiting reactant. The amount of urea is your, ayan, so, yeah. So, nakuha natin yung amount naman ng urea in this case. Okay? So, meron din tayo na ima-minus lang sa dulo. So how about for reaction yield? Essentially, ang reaction yield natin, guys, anong gagawin natin sa reaction yield? Ang gagawin natin sa reaction yield, it's your theoretical from, teka, let's have your theoretical from the limiting reagent over the, theoretical from the limiting reagent, actual yield. Experimental times 100. Okay? So that's the way that we solve this one. Ano? So the actual yield is uh, yung sa nakuha ninyo sa experiment, tapos yung theoretical, siya naman yung nakukuha nyo from your calculation. So say for example, ang theoretical yield natin ay 75 grams. Ang actual yield natin ay 25 grams. Ilang percent yung nakuha natin? We have 25 over 75 grams times 100. So that would be 33.33%. Okay? So ganun naman mag-yields, ano? Ayan. So, ano kasi guys, it is actually rare if parang very unbelievable to some extent na mayroon kang 100% yield. Bakit? Kasi when we study yung ating entropy, when we study entropy, the second law of thermodynamics, malalaman natin dun guys na wala naman talagang 100% efficient na process. Have you ever wondered, say for example, yung mga engine natin, kung sino nagda-drive na dito, nagtataka ba kayo bakit umiinit yung engine natin? Okay? It's because, guys, hindi 100% efficient yung ating mga processes. Yun yung isang coverage ng second law of thermodynamics which deals with not not all all processes are essentially not 100% efficient. Laging merong naloloss as heat or other form of energy. Okay? It's the nature of things, no? So it's an entropic factor. Okay? Ayan. So again, the formula for this one is experimental over your theoretical yield. Say for example, this one. Titanium is prepared by the reaction of titanium 4 with your titanium 4 chloride with molten magnesium between 1223.15 Kelvin to 1423.15 Kelvin. Okay? Ito yung ating reaction, ano? In a certain industrial operation, 2.84 times 10 raised to 7 grams of TiCl4 are reacted with 1.09 times 10 raised to 7 grams of magnesium. Calculate the theoretical yield of Ti in grams and calculate the percent yield of 5.97 times 10 raised to 6 grams of Ti are actually obtained. Okay? So, una natin gagawin, solve for limiting reactant. Tapos yung mass from limiting reactant. Tapos divide natin siya with your theoretical. Ay, that's your theoretical yield. Tapos i-divide natin yung actual na given with your theoretical yield. Okay? So how do we do that? For the limiting reactant, let's have this one, So the molar mass of your TiCl4, it's 189.68 grams per mole. Okay? Tapos, we just need to divide 2.84 raised to 7 divided by 189.68. That will be equal to this one. Or in actual values, it's 149,725 times 10, 1.9725.85 moles of TiCl4. How about yung magnesium natin? It's 1.09 exponent 7 divided by 24.31. That would be 448,375.15 times moles of magnesium. Okay? So in this case, sinong mas malaki? Is it TiCl4 or is it magnesium? Mas malaki po yung ating magnesium. So therefore, the limiting reactant will be TiCl4. Okay? So if we want to produce titanium from that, we just need to multiply the stoichiometric factor for TiCl4 and your titanium, which is essentially 1:1. Ayan. So in this case, we just need to multiply 149,725.85 times your 47.88 grams per mole. Oops, moles. Yan, cancel. Essentially, ilan yung equal neto? It's 149,725.85 times 47.88. We have 7.17 times 10 raised to 6 grams of titanium. Ito po yung ating theoretical yield. Okay? So, yan po yung ating theoretical yield. Again, binibilisan na lang natin kasi natakil naman na natin kanina. Hanapin niyo lang yung limiting reactant and do the calculations accordingly. Pag nahanap niyo na po kung sino yung limiting reactant natin, siya naman yung magdidictate ngayon kung ilan yung mapoproduce niya in theory. Okay? Tapos, i-divide nyo lang yung given na value with your theoretical yield to produce your actual percent yield. So, in this case, ito yung given natin, 5.97 times 10 raised to 6 grams of titanium divided by 7.18 times 10 raised to 6 grams of titanium, which is essentially equal to 83.1% yield. Naintindihan po? Nagigets? Okay? Gets? So again, hanapin nyo lang guys yung mga limiting reagent, tapos saka kayo mag-solve ng actual na yields natin. Okay? Nafa-follow po? Nagigets po yung percent yield? Divide lang siya from the limiting reactant. Nakuha? Okay? So for the theoretical yield guys, again, ang theoretical yield kasi siya yung ating essentially equal, siya yung pinakamalaking amount na mapoproduce mo from the reaction. Kumbaga siya yung pinakamalaki na. And that is given by solving for the amount of product from the limiting reactant. Kasi again, si limiting reactant na magdidictate kung gaano karami mapoproduce na product. So in this case, we just solve for first the limiting reactant. Tapos from your limiting reactant, we need to solve for the amount of products produced from the limiting reactant. So in this case, if it's Ti, kailangan natin siyang, say for example, we found out na titanium Cl4 yung ating limiting reactant. Okay. So if in order for us to solve for the theoretical yield is equal to grams of TiCl4 times the coefficient of Ti times the molar mass of Ti divided by the coefficient of TiCl4 times the molar mass of TiCl4. Okay? So that will be your theoretical yield. Tapos i-divide mo lang dyan yung value natin ng actual yield times 100 to get your percent yield. Nakuha? Gets na? Okay na ba? Okay, sige. So let's have your mga percent error naman natin. So what's the percent error? It's the accepted value minus the experimental value divided by your accepted value. So say for example, we have your theoretical and your actual yield. So pag yung theoretical natin, this is your theoretical yield minus your actual yield divided by your theoretical yield times 100 is equal to your percent error. And in other terms, it's your percent recovery or your percent na relative error. Okay? So, yan yung tinatawag natin mga percent errors. It's always your accepted minus experimental over your accepted value. Okay? So, say for example, let's have it here, no? If I expected 70 people to arrive but 80 people did, anong gagawin natin? Ano yung error natin? So, that would be 70 minus 80 divided by your 70. So that's the absolute value of this times 100 is essentially equal to 12.5%. Okay? So ganyan lang siya guys. Madalas itong ginagamit, especially in analytical and general chemistry, ano? So, yung mga percent yield error natin. So, yan siya. Ganyan yung ginagawa natin. Okay? So, it's always your accepted minus your experimental over your accepted. In other terms, is your theoretical minus your experimental over your theoretical value. In that case, we are able to solve that the percent error is 12.5%. So guys, always to positive to hindi to nagne-negative. So lagi siyang absolute value of your calculations. Okay? Ayan. So this is where I obtained yung actually ito yung sources natin So when you take general chemistry, again guys, pag college kasi kung di kayo medyo bihasa magbasa ng textbooks ng high school, gawin niyo ng habit ngayong college yung pagbabasa ng textbooks. Oh yes, many would say na, sir, boring yan eh. Meron namang material si sir. Pero again guys, iba yung nakukuha ninyong knowledge from reading textbooks sa natututunan nyo lang from the classroom. Mas makaka-help din sa inyo sa pag-intindi ng lessons kasi hindi na, sa college kasi guys, hindi na kayo tinitreat as babies, okay? Hindi na siya, hindi na siya laging slow-paced, no? It's always a fast-paced discussion. So, it's better to read books. So, for recommendation, for those who will take Chem 19, Chem 18, okay, you read your Raymond Chang, Raymond Chang Chemistry. Yan. From 7th ed. Ayan. Meron naman yan sa mga online na sources, Meron din naman yan sa yung may mga open access na mga PDF. Okay? Then, pag naman natitake kayo ng Chem 33, yung mga organic chemistry, you need to study first your Klein, David, David Klein, tapos it's your organic chemistry third edition, tapos it's way back 2017. So, hanapin niya lang yung books na yan. Tapos read them in your own pace para pag nag-discuss kayo, kahit fast-paced man yung discussion, makakasunod kayo. Okay? So, ganun siya. Okay, so do you have any questions for stoichiometry? Naalala niyo na mag-stoic? Okay? Ayan. So, naalala niyo na mag-stoic? Okay, may question pa ba kayo for stoichiometry? Wala na? Okay? Sige, so let's have a 5-minute break. Let's be back at 2:10 to discuss naman yung ating solutions. Okay? Solutions. Okay. Sige. Again guys, may survey po tayo. Please, mandatory siya. Kindly answer your survey. Okay?
mamaya tignan natin kung mapapatablets natin si Ronnie Liang. Okay, ako magtatablets ako.
Okay, so let's resume our discussion, guys. Na-answer na ba ninyo yung survey? Again, guys, paki-answer po siya as we need that survey, ano? Okay. So, for this time, let's have solutions. So, again, the solutions natin, we have different types of solutions, no? So, we have yung ating iba-ibang mga units. Say, for example, molarity, molality, ppm, ppb. Okay, so let's recap them everything ano dito sa discussion natin. Okay? So again, for a solute dissolves in a specific solvent. So usually, insert ko na yung mga concept dito. Polar solutes, such as your salts, ano, yung mga salts natin. Asin, sodium chloride, ayan, ang mga KBr, potassium bromide, ayan. Lahat yan nadi-dissolve yan sa mga polar na solvents. Such as ano yung mga polar na solvent? Tatingin ninyo. Ano yung polar solvent? Can you give an example of a polar solvent?
Water? Question mark.
Water. Okay. So, exactly. Water is a polar solvent. Okay. So, ang concept po nito ay your like dissolves like. Okay? So, kung pareho siyang polar, magdi-dissolve siya. Kung pareho siya non-polar, magdi-dissolve siya. Pero pag polar and non-polar, hindi yan magdi-dissolve. Okay? So, these ones would make your solutions with varying concentrations. Okay? So, the solvent is the most abundant component. So, technically, siya yung non-dissolve, no? Siya yung water. Okay? So in some cases, substances are miscible. So ibig sabihin, naghahalo talaga sila na wala silang two layers ano. Pero yung iba, they are immiscible. Say for example, water and oil. They're only partially soluble to some extent ano. Kaya ako ganyan, nagluluto kayo ng pancit canton, meron natin ng konting oil nandidissolve sa water. Kasi again guys, hindi naman siya completely insoluble because of the London dispersion forces existing. Okay? So in some cases, substances are miscible and yung other naman ay immiscible siya. Ayan. So the physical state of the solvent usually determines the physical state of your solution. So usually, kunwari, matubig yung solvent mo. Therefore, yung solution mo, matubig din. So it dictates kung anong physical state ng solution mo. Pag yung solution mo naman, medyo ano siya, oily siya, ganun, oily, edi, oily yung magiging kakalabasan ng physical status ng solution mo. Okay? So again, it's like, solves like substances with similar types or intermolecular forces of attraction will tend to dissolve with one another. Okay? So when forces within the solute are like those within the solvent, the forces can replace each other. Say for example, sodium chloride, no? So in solution, yung ating NaCl, it will form sodium plus Cl minus. And why is it soluble in water? So you can recall guys, yung ating water, di ba? It has a dipole moment, no? Ito nagiging partial negative. Ito nagiging partial positive. So, pag nag-dissolve ka po ng water nag-dissolve ka ng salt sa water, what happens is, your sodium positive ions will interact closely with your oxygen atom. Okay, yan siya. Kasi this is partial negative. Negative and positive, they will attract. Okay? Meanwhile, yung ating mga hydrogen, they are partial positive. So therefore, they will be attracted to your chlorine ions. Okay? So, you might be wondering, kung iisipin nyo guys, di ba partial positive, partial negative naman yung other water molecules? Eh bakit sila nag interact pa rin to dissolve your chlorine molecules? Kasi if you can recall guys, this is a whole charge. Whole charge yan. Di ba? Ang ating mga water molecules, they only have partial charges. So they tend to be really attracted doon sa may mas mataas na electron density as compared to your partial positive or partial negative. Okay? So, pwede rin iniisip nyo ngayon in terms of solubility. Sir, bakit yung iba hindi po siya nadi-dissolve? Hindi po siya possible na, nabuhusan nyo ng asukal yung ano nyo, yung kape ninyo, no, hindi na-dissolve yung asukal. Kasi, meron tayong mga saturation point na hanggang lang sa extent na to, ma-dissolve yan. Anything in excess, hindi na siya kayang i-accommodate ng solvent mo. Okay? So, I'll try to cover that sa next week, yung mga solubility and yung ating mga KSP values. So, that will dictate kung gaano ba ka-soluble yung ating compound or not. Okay? So, yan lang siya. Like dissolves like, and similar attractions and similar repulsion would matter sa ating mga solutions. Okay? So let's have it here. So the solubility series of alcohols in water and in hexane. So say for example, methanol, which is a 1 carbon unit, it will easily dissolve in your water, similar to ethanol and your propanol. Okay? However, when you increase the number of carbon chains, say for example, butanol, 4 na yung carbon niya, what happens here? What's the solubility? It's already 1.1. Medyo hindi na siya infinity, hindi na siya infinitely soluble. Ano? It's already 1.1 kasi hindi na siya nagiging soluble sa water. Why is this the case? Again, from our previous discussion, why is this the case? Bakit kaya? In-increase ko yung carbon, ano nangyayari? From IMFA, why? Ba't pag in-increase ko na yung carbon units, hindi na siya nadidissolve?
Charge po.
Charge? Pwede? More specific.
Stronger na po. Stronger na po yung LDF.
Okay, stronger yung LDF. So therefore, stronger yung LDF, Nino.
Nung butanol po, since stronger na po yung LDF, mas mahirap na po ma-breakdown yung
Okay, very
component.
good. So technically, yung ating butanol, guys, malakas na yung kanyang IMFA with other butanol molecules. Kaya bakit pa siya magbabind sa water? So nadidecrease na po yung kanyang solubility in your water. Okay? So, ganun po siya. Okay, very good. Ayan. So, meron din tayong mga gas solutions, ano? So, say for example, we dissolve oxygen in water or oxygen in blood. Meron tayong dissolved gases in our system. Ayan. So, the way that we transport gases, actually, ini-induce natin yung gas to our hemoglobin molecule. So, yung hemoglobin natin, kumukuha siya ng gaseous oxygen molecule. Okay? Para may transfer sa body. Same as with your carbon dioxide, ano? So to some extent, pwede mo din siyang ilagay sa dissolve na sa mga liquids mo. Say for example, yung ating soda, ano? Yung ano siya, nilalagyan siya ah ng carbon dioxide para merong fizz, ano, may fizz feeling yung ating soda. So you can remove that by shaking. Okay? Eliminating your carbon dioxide. So maraming ganong instances. Kaya hindi lang po pag sinabi nating solutions, hindi lang siya liquid lang. Hindi liquid lang. Meron tayong mga gas liquid solutions and meron din tayong mga liquid solutions. Okay? So yung gas-gas solutions naman, all gases are immiscible with each other. Sabihin ko hydrogen gas, sinama mo sa helium gas, maghahalo yan dalawang yan. Okay? So ganun siya. Pag naman gas solid natin, when a gas is dissolved in a solid, say for example, yung mga rocks, no? So some rocks have oxygen pockets. So meron pumapasok na oxygen sa kanila na natatrap doon sa loob ng rock. Okay? So meron ganang mga formations. So, meron din mga solids na sinisynthesize ng mga chemists, ano? Na they contain oxygen in the center. Kaya parang ano siya, parang pwede mong i-deliver 'yon, ano? So some drugs then have say for example, other dissolved gases inside the small particles of capsules. So meron din mga ganun. Okay? Pag naman mga solid-solid solution, sila naman yung mga tinatawag nating alloy. Have you heard of the term alloy? Mhm. Okay? So, ano yung alloy natin? Siya yung mga metals, di ba? Metal alloy. Okay? So, technically, it's a mixture of metals. It's a solution of molten metals. Na pinaghahalo-halo nyo siya to occupy the same sites as their counterpart. Parang exchange lang. Okay? So, you have also your interstitial alloy. So, they occupy the interstitial spaces in the lattice structure. So, ano lang, yun naman masyadong kailangan na to. No? So when you're taking your first year subjects. So eto siya, ayan, yung pure metal for demonstration lang no, yung pure metal ganito siya, pareho-pareho siyang red, uniform siya. Pag naman substitutional alloy, kuwari yan no, nagiging blue siya, ino-occupy niya yung spaces na yan. May halo na siya. Okay? How about yung mga interstitial alloy? Mga maliliit siya na mga metal particles. Usually yung mga maliliit na transition metals yan, ano, sumisingit siya sa gitna-gitna ng mga lattice structure to provide either extra strength, gano'n, no? And extra strength, tensile strength, ganyan, or other physical properties. Okay? So, we need to understand, guys, that solubility is an equilibrium process. Have you ever heard of the term equilibrium? Anong idea niyo sa equilibrium?
Balance po or equality.
Okay, balance, equality. Okay? Well, technically, when you're dealing with equilibrium, ano, so probably yan kasi unang thought niyo sa equal yung ano, yung products and reactants ko equal siya. Actually, in terms of chemistry definition, hindi. Ang definition ng equilibrium, guys, ay actually a state at which the rate of the forward reaction and the rate of the backward reaction is equal. So, hindi po ibig sabihin na pag equilibrium siya, equal yung reactant and yung products. Ang equal lang po yung rate ng pag-form ng reactants at yung rate ng pag-form ng products. Okay? So, lagi lang in equilibrium, maging equal yung rate but not the amount. Yung isang common misconception sa chemistry, ano, pagkatapos ng high school, no? Kasi equilibrium, ano lang siya, equal po yung reactants and products. Hindi. Ang equal lang sa kanila ay yung rate of the forward and rate of the backward. Naintindihan? Naintindihan po yung correct definition for it. Okay? So in this case, pag sinabi natin the solute or the undissolved is in equilibrium with the solute of dissolved, ibig sabihin yan guys, equal na po yung rate ng pag-dissolve niya at yung hindi niya pag-dissolve. Okay? So again, the rate of the forward is equal to the rate of the backward reaction. Okay? So at a given temperature, guys, when a solid is dissolving at the same rate as dissolved particles are recrystallizing, the system is at equilibrium. Okay? So again, ang key point niya for equilibrium, it's very temperature dependent. So iba po yung equilibrium ng 25 degrees sa equilibrium ng 40 degrees, ganun. So usually it increases because uh mas nagpo-form yung ating, to some extent, mas nagpo-form yung ating mga products if tinataasan natin yung ating temperature. Okay? However, merong iba naman na baliktad yung nangyayari pag iniikis yung temperature. So, it depends primarily on the identity of your material. Okay? So, for the effect of pressure on solubility, you have here the Henry's law. So, take note of this one. So, the solubility of the gas is equal to the Henry's law constant. So, this is always given, times the pressure of the gas in ATM. So technically, kung iisipin nyo dyan, paano gumagawa, have you ever wondered paano gumagawa ng soda? Paano gumagawa ng Coke, ng ganyan, yung mga fizzy na drink? Paano sa tingin nyo siya ginagawa? Any idea? Paano ginagawa ang ating mga soda? Okay, kina-carbonize by how is it carbonized? Maraming kasing form of carbon, pwedeng galvanized meron tayong mga yung mga carbon plating, ayan. So how do we actually make soda? Well, actually, the way that we do that is kuwari sa liquid natin, no, yung soda mixture natin na wala pang fizz, no? They will actually be placed in a chamber, no? Tapos ipe-pressurize mo siya ng carbon dioxide, guys. Carbon dioxide gas para ma-dissolve mo yung carbon dioxide sa system. Okay? So parang isipin mo, ito yung soda, lalagyan mo ng carbon dioxide yan, ipe-pressurize mo siya para tumaas yung kanyang solubility sa system. Kasi again, if you're going to see here, the solubility of the gas is directly proportional to the pressure of the gas. It means if I increase the pressure, it will equate to an increase in your solubility. Okay? So that will be the case. Kaya ayan din yung reason kung mapapansin ninyo, 'di ba, pagbukas niyo ng soda, ano naririnig niyo? So gumagano'n siya, 'di ba? Because yung excess pressure ng carbon dioxide lumalabas. No? So ganun yung reason niya. Kasi again, pine-pressurize po siya para maging fizzy yung drink. Okay? So ako, personally, usually if I intake soda, nung ginagawa ko, sinishake ko yung soda. Pag shinake ko yung soda, saka ko siya bubuksan, nire-release ko yung carbon dioxide kasi ayoko ng fizzy drink. Okay? So in that sense, guys, how do you remove carbon dioxide from water? Or how do you decrease the solubility of the carbon dioxide from soda? Well, you actually reverse, diba? Kunwari, naglagay ka ng pressure, pinressurize mo. So, kailangan mong gawin para mapatanggal mo yung ating, yung ating carbon dioxide doon ay i-depressurize mo siya. Tatanggalan mo siya ng pressure. I-decrease mo yung kanyang pressure. And that is accomplished by shaking first, by increasing yung instability ng carbon dioxide doon, tapos opening to release the pressure. Okay? So that's how you treat yung yung solubility natin. So again, kasi it's given by your Henry's law, or the solubility is your Henry's constant times your pressure of the gas. Okay? So for the classification of solutions naman, pag sinabi mong unsaturated, sila yung matabang. Ibig sabihin, malabnaw. Malabnaw, ano? So kunwari, nagkape kayo ng ilang beses. So sino may coffee maker sa bahay dito? Coffee maker sa bahay. Yung mahilig magkape. Hmm. O kahit ng espresso, sinong umiinom ng espresso madalas dito? Mapapansin nyo, guys, yung mga coffee beans natin, pag nakailang pass na yan sa water, nagde-decrease yung amount of caffeine niya sa system. Okay? So therefore, if nakailang ulit ka na ng ground beans mo sa extraction mo ng caffeine, ang mangyayari doon, magiging unsaturated na yung solution mo. Hindi na siya matapang. Magiging matabang na siya, no? Pag sinabi mo namang saturated solution, sila na yung mga solution na sakto yung lasa. Kuwari, hindi masyadong matamis, hindi naman matabang, ganon. So, ito exactly, or it is the limit at which your solute is at its maximum na amount of solute in the system. So, kunwari, ang solubility natin ay given ng 50 grams per liter. Okay, 50 grams per liter solubility. If I add 25 grams, anong solution ko? Saturated or unsaturated or super saturated? What do you think? 50 grams per liter yung ating solubility, tapos naglagay lang ako ng 25 grams. Ano yung solution ko?
Unsaturated
Unsaturated?
po.
Okay, unsaturated. How about if I place 50.1 gram?
Super po.
Super saturated na siya. So, lagpas na siya ng mas madaming sa taas na siya sa limit, ano. If sakto siyang 50 grams, it is in your saturated state. So anything na i-add mo pa dun sa saturated state mo, hindi mo na siya pwedeng ma-dissolve unless you increase the temperature. Pag in-increase mo kasi yung temperature, nagiging super saturated siya. However, pag kinul mo na siya, you will notice na, mapapansin nyo, di ba, minsan, if you want to dissolve high amounts of sugar, i-heat mo siya, di ba? Pero pag lumamig na siya, anong mangyayari pag ganon? Merong natitirang sugar molecule sa baba. So technically, hindi mo siya na-dissolve talaga ng mataas ang in large amounts na. Bumabalik pa rin siya dun sa solid state niya, which is given or which is characteristic by your supersaturated solutions. Okay? So ito yung mga diagrams natin for this. You have amount of solute dissolved in less than equilibrium, amount of solute dissolved less than equilibrium, ayan. So ito naman so if you're going to look at this can be your unsaturated, okay? This is your saturated, okay? Tapos ito naman yung mga super saturated, okay? Again, ang characteristics sila guys, pag sinabi mo super saturated, you are increasing the temperature of the system to make or to dissolve more particles. However, that is only short-lived kasi upon cooling your supersaturated solution, you will actually obtain a solid particle sa ilalim ng ating system. So, hindi po siya permanent, rather, it's a short-lived phenomenon. Okay? Naintindihan? Gets po yung difference? Okay, very good, everyone. Ayan. So, let's have here the various concentration terms. So, let's have the molarity. Very fresh pa siguro sa inyo to. So, molarity is given by your amount of solute in terms of your moles divided by the volume of your solution. So, ibig sabihin, kailangan mo i-convert yung grams to moles if you want to solve for the molarity. Grams to moles. Tapos, i-divide mo to by your liters to find your mole per liter na value. Okay? So, ganyan siya. How about yung iba naman, we have molality. So, later siya. So, ang usually kasi, mapapansin niyo, di ba? Pag nagagawa kayo ng high school stuff, no? O sino may laboratory sa high school, yung may mga lab class dyan, madalas ang ginagamit nilang unit is your molarity. Bakit? Kasi molarity is very easy. Pwede ka mag-prepare ng madaming solutions from molarity. However, meron siya mga certain drawbacks. So first is actually your effect of temperature. So say for example, nagdissolve ako ng nagdissolve ako ng certain solute sa alcohol. Pag hinit ko yung alcohol, what will happen? Your alcohol will evaporate. Okay? So pag na-evaporate yung alcohol, iba na yung concentration niya. So kunwari, dinisolve mo siya sa 50 ml. Tapos, hinit mo siya. So ano mangyayari? Magdi-decrease yung volume ng alcohol, magiging 45 ml na yan. So technically, it's the same amount of solute, pero different amounts of your liters or your volume. So in that case, hindi na po pareho yung kanyang concentration. Naintindihan? So let's have one example, no? So if I have 5 moles of A dissolved in 100 ml of solution, I will have a molarity of ilan? Anong molarity nito? 5 divided by 100, anong molarity niya? Hmm. 0.05 molars. Ayan. Okay? So if naman nag-dissolve, if yun pa rin, so same solution, no, meron akong mole of A, pero after heating naging 95 ml na siya. Ilan na to? Ilan yung molarity nito? Ay, actually. Sorry. Is this correct pala? Sorry. Medyo hindi ko na-overlook ano. So, ang ginawa ninyo ay 5 divided by 100. So, again, this is in terms of your ml. Ano yung nakalagay sa molarity natin is your liters of solution. What's the correct answer for this one then? It's 5 divided by 1 over 100. Or 100 over 1,000. Okay? So, in that case, we have 50 molars. Sorry, 50 molars. Okay? So how about yung ating second naman? Ilan kaya to? That's 5 divided by, okay? So 5 divided by 95 over 100. So that's essentially equal to, 95 over. Okay? So ilang molarity neto? Ano yung molarity niya?
5.26 po.
5.26? Are you sure? Ano yung molarity niya? Amount of solute in moles over liters of solution. Ano yung binigay kong unit? Anong binigay kong unit? ml, di ba? So in that case, what will you do? You need to convert first ml into liters, tapos saka mo siya i-divide. So that will be 5 divided by 95 over 1,000. So that will be 52.6 molars. Okay? So kung isipin niyo yan guys, as long as na-decrease yung amount of volume niya, lagi pong affected yung ating solution. Kaya yun yung isang major drawback ng molarity. Affected by solution siya. Pag naman mixture, kunwari, we have a solute-solvent interaction, ano, maaring ma-decrease niya yung total amount of volume. So, ano lang, medyo overview lang, no? Kung magte-take kayo ng mga physical chemistry courses, meron tayong tinatawag na solvent-solvent interaction. So, kunwari, naglagay ako ng 5 ml of water sa 5 ml of uh, alcohol, okay? Say ethanol, ano? Ethanol, okay? So in that case, guys, hindi siya actually 10 ml in reality. It's actually less than 10 ml, mga 9 point, minsan maging 9.8, 9.9, ganun siya. But it's never equal to exactly 10. Okay? Kasi again, pag 10 yan, wala silang molecular interaction which is not ideally happening in your system. Okay? So, ganun po siya. So, ano pa yung other forms of your molarity? Well, actually, molarity, may technique ako ituturo sa inyo, guys. Diba usually kasi we solve molarity as mole per liter. This is also equal if meron tayong millimole per ml. Okay? So, kaya mali mga sagot natin kanina kasi if we're going to look at here, I've given you the mole. If you want to divide, if you're having a hard time solving for the appropriate amount of volume in liters, what you need to do is simply convert nyo lang ito into millimoles. So that will be 1,000 millimole is equal to 1 mole. So in this case, if we have 5 moles, we have times 1,000 millimole over 1 mole. Okay? So that will be 5,000 millimole. Pag dinivide mo yan sa 95, ang lalabas dyan ay 52.6 millimole per ml, or that is also equal to your mole per liter. Okay? So this is very essential if you're dealing with titration problems kasi lagi siyang madalas na in ml. So parang di na kayo mag-convert ng ml to liters or parang di na kayo mag-convert ng iba pang units, you just need to do this, ano? Yan. So, kailangan mo lang siyang i-multiply by 1,000 or i-divide by 1,000 later. Okay? So, that's your molarity. So, pag naman sinabi mong molality, it's the number of or the amount of solute in the kilogram of your solvent. So this is actually primarily used when you're dealing with colligative properties. Ano? Kasi the main advantage of molality as compared to molarity, molality kasi ay naka-mass or the kilogram of your solvent. Naka-mass siya. So technically, hindi nagbabago yung solid kasi 'di ba hindi naman volatile yung mga solid natin. Okay? So usually pag kilogram siya, yung mga calculations natin hindi siya affected by the volume or temperature changes. Okay? Mas affected yung ating mga molarity kasi sila yung naka-volume unit. Okay? So for the effect of temperature, the molar solutions are based on the masses of the compounds which does not change the with temperature. Kasi again, mag-iiba yung volume kasi again, it expands at a considerable amount or it retracts at a considerable amount depending on your temperature. Okay? So for the effect of mixing naman, the masses are additive for unlike your volumes, no? Yung mga volume natin, hindi mo siya pwedeng i-add. Pero yung mga masses, pwede mo siyang i-add. Kaya, mas madaling gamitin yung mga molality when you're dealing with colligative properties. Okay? So let's try this one, ano? Sorry, na-reveal agad yung sagot. Sige, reveal na nga natin. What is the molarity and molality of a solution prepared by dissolving 32.0 grams of calcium chloride in 271 grams of water? So pag molarity hinahanap natin, convert natin to into moles, tapos i-convert natin to into volume, into your volume. So in this case, pag molarity, solve nyo muna yung amount niya in moles, so 32 times 1 over 110.98. So that will be 0.288 mole of your calcium chloride. So meron ka ng numerator, okay? Now how about your denominator or your liters of solution? Okay? So if we're going to look at here, guys, liters of solution. Hindi siya liter ng solvent lang. So you might be tempted na gawin 271 yung basis lang natin for your solution. No. Why is this the case? Kasi guys, meron tayong ina-add na solute. So technically, yung mass ng solution natin iba as compared to a pure solvent. So in this case, we just need to add 271 with 32 times your 1 ml over 1.11 grams yung ating density. And divide mo yun by 1,000 to get it in terms of your liters. So in this case, the molarity is given as 1.06 molars. Okay? Again, anong ginawa natin sa ating denominator? Ganito siya, guys. Ang ginawa natin sa denominator, 271 kasi, yan yung grams of water pa lang. Water pa lang yan. Pero meron tayong 32 grams of your calcium chloride sa solution. So ito po yung tinatawag na, ito yung naman yung density of your solution. So therefore, if we want to find the volume, we just need to multiply we just need to divide the density. Since it is given as 1.11 grams per ml, this is divided by 1.11 grams, that is 1 ml. So in that case, ito po yung ating X na volume, X volume in ml. Okay? So ganyan siya. So from this, you just need to convert 1 liter is to 1,000 ml. Cancel, cancel. You'll now be able to solve for your volume of the solution in liters. Tapos input mo lang siya sa molarity, you're now able to solve for the molarity of the solution. Okay? For molality naman is given by the mole of solute versus a kilogram of solvent. So as you can see here, dire-diretso siya, guys. Ba? 0.288 divided by 271 times 1 kilogram over 1,000 grams. So ganyan lang siya, dire-diretso siya. Medyo mabilis lang gawin yan. Molarity and molality kasi same lang naman na nakagram, ano? So in this case, yung molality natin, 271 grams yung given. So, kailangan lang natin siya convert into your kilograms to solve for the molality. So, mabilis lang siya. Okay? So, ganun po mag-solve ng molarity and molality. So, for this naman, yung mga mass percent natin, pag sinabi mong mass percent is the mass of the solute over the mass of solution times 100. Pag naman volume percent is the volume of the solute over the volume of the solution times 100. Meron din tinatawag na percent mass per volume. This is essentially equal to your mass of solute over volume of solution. What's the difference between percent mass per volume with molarity? Pag molarity, guys, naka-mole of solute over volume of your solution. Okay? Pag naman mass percent or yung mga percent per mass percent per volume, ganon, is the mass of the solute divided by the volume of your solvent or the volume of your solution, I mean. Okay? So, ganyan lang siya. So, hindi siya moles, rather it's using your mass. Okay, very straightforward lang yan. Mass percent and yung volume percent. How about yung mole fraction mo? The mole fraction is given by the amount of moles of the solute divided by the moles of the solute plus the moles of the solvent. So, in other terms, is the mole solute over the total moles of system. Okay? So, ganyan lang. So, you can, I guess you can, take note of these ones so you can study them on your own. Okay? So, other concentration terms, we have here yung ating parts per million and parts per billion and parts per trillion. Pag sinabi mong parts per million, it's your mass or grams of the solid divided by the mass of grams of the solution times 10 raised to 6. Same as with parts per billion, pero times 10 raised to 9 and times 10 raised to 12. So just remember here, guys, na ginagamit natin yung mga ppm, ppb, at ppt if we are dealing with very little amounts. So say for example, we're dealing with the amount of heavy metals in a certain water system, ano? We always we report them as ppm or ppb kasi halos maliliit lang yung kanilang mga value. Halos mga trace elements lang sila. Okay? So in that case, we only use your ppm, ppb, and ppt if we're dealing with very, very small amounts of your system. Okay? Ayan. Sige. Later ko sagutan yung question mo. Okay? Ayan. So, for this one, guys, just recall na when you're dealing with concentrations, you always think na there is a certain, kumbaga dapat meron akong ratio na nangyayari. It's a ratio between your solute and the ratio between your solution or your solvent. Okay? So for ppm, is oftentimes used as the unit of milligrams per liters. Okay? Pag naman ppb, it's your microgram per liter. Pag naman ppt, it's your nanogram per liter. Okay? So, pwede nyo gamitin yung mga ganitong units niya, mg per L. Tapos yung isa ay sorry, medyo micro to micro. So UG na lang yan. UG per L. Okay? So pag mg per L is your ppm, pag UG per L is your ppb, pag ng per L is your ppt. Okay? Ayan. So let's have here an example, ano? To find the concentration of the calcium ion in ppm in a 3.5 gram pill that contains 40.5 milligrams of calcium 2 plus. So in this case, again, ang gagawin natin? We just need to just need to divide the amount of calcium in grams with the total amount of grams. So in this case, it's 40 milligrams. Divide lang natin siya ng grams of your pill. Okay? So in this case, we will obtain times 10 raised to 6, we will obtain 1.16 times 10 raised to 4 ppm of calcium 2 plus. Okay? So ganyan na siya. So ppm, ppb, lagi nyo tandaan, ito siya. Dapat naka-grams or basta pareho yung unit po ng ating ilalim. or ng ating taas at ilalim, no? Pero if I were you, just convert it into grams. Convert nyo siya ng grams times 10 raised to 6. So that's your ppm and your ppb later on. Okay? So in this case, the label of dito naman tayo sa second example, ano? The label on a 750 liters of bottle of Italian Chianti says 11.5% alcohol by volume. How many liters does the wine contain, yung ating mga ang ating tawag dito? Ang ating alcohol in that sense, no? So for this, we are going to use the volume percent formula. So it's essentially equal to the volume of the solute divided by the volume of your solution times 100. So with this, you have that you know that you contain the label of 0.750 liter bottle of an Italian Chianti says 11.5 alcohol by volume. Okay, 11.5 alcohol by volume. Okay? If you want to solve for the volume of alcohol in the system, what's your volume of the alcohol? It's your solute or your solution. Is it the solute or the solution?
Solute po.
Okay, solute. So in this case, we just need to do algebraic manipulation, ano? So the volume percent times the volume of the solution divided by 100. Parang cross-multiply lang siya. Okay? So, ganyan siya. So this will be volume of solution times the volume percent divided by 100 is equal to the volume of solute. So in this case, we just need to do this 0.750 liters times 11.5 divided by 100. Input nyo lang yung values dyan. And you will obtain the volume of your alcohol and is found to be 0.0862 liters, or in terms of your ml, it's ilan? In terms of ml, it's your 86.2 ml of alcohol. Okay? So again guys, just familiarize yourself nyo sa mga ganito mga equations, no? Pag percent volume, volume per volume, ayan, edi volume over volume. Pag percent by mass, edi mass over mass. Pag percent mass over volume, edi mass over volume. Okay? So ganoon lang siya yung gagawin niyo. Do you have any questions, guys? For this topic, may questions ba kayo for solutions? So, yan lang siya. At tandaan niyo na lagi yung mga difference in units, no? Molality, ppm, ppb, percent mass, percent volume. Ayan. So, tandaan niyo na lagi yung mga units nila. Okay? Tapos, try to answer more problems on your own para mas ma-practice kayo sa pagbibilis na pag-solve ng mga bagay-bagay. Okay? So, kanina we have a question, ano? So, sir, sa UP Chem po ba ay pinapayagan? What do you mean? UP Biochem ba? Is this UP Biochem or is it UP Chem? So, in terms of any chemistry subject, depende sa prof. There are certain professors na ayaw nila nagpapa-formula sheet. There are certain professors na gusto na, okay lang na magpa-formula sheet. So, it depends on them. Pero I advise you guys na if pinagamit kayo ng formula sheet, edi gamitin ninyo. Gawa kayo ng formula sheet. Pero pag hindi, do not use any formula sheet or ano yan. So, do not attempt na mag-go beyond sa limitations ng binibigay sa inyo. No? Pag sinabing walang formula sheet sa chemistry, wala. Eh, di wala kayong choice kundi mag-aral or i-memorize nyo yung mga kailangan ninyong equation. Okay? So, ganun naman siya. So, ayan, I think we will end here, ano? So, let's end that solution. So, for tomorrow and on Friday, I'll be sending off na rin asynchronous sessions natin, ano? So, I'll be uploading a lesson on gas laws and introduction on your thermodynamics and kinetics. Para next week, yung mga last few days natin, we'll be having naman yung organic chemistry natin, okay? So, some of you will take organic chem kasi, and some of you will take your uh, thermodynamics and kinetics in your first chemistry subjects in the university. Kaya, try natin i-cover yung mga yan para hindi naman kayo sobrang ma-shock pagpasok kayo sa UP. Okay? So, do you have any questions, guys? May questions ba kayo? Wala naman? Okay? So with that, again, thank you for attending today. I'll see you again sa synchronous session natin on Monday na lang kasi I'll be uploading your asynchronous sessions for Thursday and Friday. Okay? Naintindihan? Okay?
Sir,
Sige.
question, sir.
Ay, yes.
Can we
Yes,
have the
Merida.
copy po, sir, yung stoic po for further study po?
Okay, sige. I think meron siya copy sa online eh. Meron tayong module for it. Okay, so try ko tignan mamaya, okay? Sige. Para ano, if you want to work on din naman on your own, you can again study yung Chang, si Raymond Chang, kasi may solutions naman si Raymond Chang. So, mostly naman ng mga examples namin nanggagaling sa kanya. So, yan. Mas madami namang examples doon. So, pero I'll check later on do sa canvas natin kung okay.
Thank you, sir.
Sige. Okay, sige. If you don't have
Thank you,
any
sir.
question, ayan, let's end it here. I'll see you again next synchronous session.